Preserving the red ball cricket game in South Africa is very important. Now, to a lot of us, it's the purest format of the game and something that we really need to do. And we could see the importance of it, especially with South Africa playing the Test series and struggling with certain conditions. And obviously, they got over that and fought through it and really put on a good display. Some guys and some guys struggled a little bit more than others, but it just shows the importance of red ball cricket in South Africa and how important it is to all of us as fans. So what I thought I'm going to do today is bring on a guest and try to help understand what it's like in South Africa to play red ball cricket. He recently had a very good, a very successful SIA tour. So it's going to be something that we're going to get proper insight with. So I thought rather let's bring on a professional to talk about it than us talk about it alone and just give our own thoughts and processes. So to the guys that are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell for all future videos. And let's get into this conversation. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Wasn't sure when I should contact him or not contact him, when he'll be back, when he'll not be back, when he'll have some time free. But he's given us some time to actually talk to him. So myself and Aditya are going to get into it next. Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid Mohideen and I'm here with Ryan Rickleton and Aditya today. We're going to be chatting to Ryan today and ask him about red ball cricket specifically. But let me just get the ball rolling first and foremost. I just want to ask you about the SIA tour. Welcome to the show again. And what was the SIA tour like for you? Like what type of things did you pick up specifically playing Zimbabwe?
Firstly, thank you for having me. Nice to be back on the show. Yeah, obviously the A tour was a successful one for not just myself, but for quite a few players. Obviously nice to get outside and actually play some cricket in a different part of the world, even though the conditions are quite similar to what we'd get up back in Joburg in Pretoria. Obviously it was a great opportunity. We were quite lucky that the wickets were really good to play on. But the competition was actually pretty good. Especially as the tour went on, you played on the same wickets over and over again. So actually just got a bit harder and harder to bat on as the tour went. So yeah, the bowlers had their moments with Darren picking up, I think, 9 in the one game, and the batters getting a couple of Subi getting that big double, and a couple other guys cashing in. But yeah, it was a great tour to be a part of and a nice opportunity to actually get out there and play with different players under different conditions.
Interesting. You didn't mention your own century over there in the mix. Let me ask you some questions about that. When the wicket got harder, etc., what sort of conversations do you guys have with each other when you go down to the wicket in the middle and read the conditions and decide you're going to play a certain way? How do you decide on that particular style that you're going to play on? How are you going to approach your game plan going into a session?
So I think everyone has their own game plans, especially when it comes to 4-day cricket. It's obviously about understanding what your strengths, your weaknesses, and sticking to that plan. But what I learned in Sri Lanka, which was quite interesting, Shukri Conrad said to me, he said, you never play the situation, you always play the conditions. And it's true. If the conditions are good to bat, you bat. If they're tough for batting, like they are looking at the test match in England now, then you got to work hard for your runs. So like I said, the first, especially the 4-day wicket, the first one was gold. Honestly, it was beautiful. It was too easy, so the scoring was a lot quicker. I think I was on 80 off 80 at a stage. So it's kind of a lesson I took, because the wicket was true, and you can play not a bit more loosely, but you can grow your game plan. Then onto the second game, it was a lot lower, slower. It was doing a bit more, and then it's just more picking and saying what shots can I and can I not play on this wicket, and then nailing your game plan and really being disciplined within that.
Aditya, I'm going to give it over to you for a couple of questions.
My first question to you, Rad, first of all, welcome to the show, is that, there's always this conversation about intent and being aggressive. And a phrase that it gets used a lot these days is there's always that one ball that's going to have my name on it. And my question is that do you think sometimes that plays into do you think sometimes that really gets into the head of the batsman, and it might sort of alter their game plan to a degree where you tend to be over aggressive instead of having that confidence to really sort of manage the situation, absorb the pressure?
Yeah, having intent, I think, is a bit of a fine line, especially, and I think it means different things to different players. If you watch a guy like Quinny, when Quinny has intent, you know, he's coming at you. He's still staying in his game plan, but his stride's a little bit further forward. He's getting a bit further back. He's looking to players pull shots or whatever his strengths may be. Whereas if you sometimes lack the intent, even just a good leave or good defense, if you're sometimes letting it unroll, if you're letting it unravel naturally, you find yourself getting in poor positions. My experience with intent, what I found is that when I really have good intent, my positions are really good. I get really far forward, I get really far back. But there's obviously also different times to have good intent. Like I said, it's a fine balance, and every player has a different understanding of it. I heard them speaking about in the New Zealand India Test match. Now they're talking about intent. It's a slow scoring game, and you just more about understanding what the intent might bring in a game where 200 is a really good score. To have that intent and really maybe push and get a 40 or 50 or 60, even if it's quick firing, but through good shots. It doesn't mean being reckless, and I think that's where sometimes players get it a bit wrong and get a bit confused. Is that sometimes intent is positive, I'm going to blast you out of the attack. But it actually has a different meaning for each player, and it's not necessarily about scoring quickly. Like I said, it's a fine line, but everyone interprets it differently, and every coach portrays it differently as well.
Fair enough. That's a great answer, actually. I was watching Nasser Hussain and Rob Key talk about spin in the subcontinent, and they were chatting with Kevin Peterson about it, because in recent years there's been that shift in the way that DRS has sort of declared players out, and I feel like it has ramifications for every team, right? Like even the Indian team now, you don't see as many hundreds from them compared to back in the day, where players were really comfortable playing spin. And I was wondering if that has sort of altered techniques or contributed to the way that that batters play spin or other types of bowling.
I think definitely you're a lot more conscious and a lot more aware of getting hit on the pad now, to be honest. Even now when you watch test matches now, you look and it gets hit and you think, oh, that's never out. And, it just finds a way to be hitting the top of leg stump or something like that. So I think a lot of players are a lot more conscious when it comes to those kind of things now. Obviously, I haven't really played under DRS, but I know that if I'm playing against an Ashwin, that if my pad is in the way, he's going to get me up. There's all the evidence is supporting him. Not really much is going to be supporting me, I don't think. But I know, chatting to some of the guys that have played under there, they are conscious of it. They obviously make sure that whatever their plan is, stay a bit more leg side or get their leg outside the line of off stump, whatever it might be. They have taken that into consideration, because now it feels like you can't get away with anything. They're looking to get obviously every decision right, which is fair, but it's taken out that old-fashioned element of cricket of you got a stinker or you got away with one there, and then it changes the way players play. And to also revert it to your intent question there, if you have to play against a guy like Ashwin in India, feel like it's a matter of time till they're going to get you out. As the wicket starts turning, it's almost a matter of time. And you listen to the commentators and even Kevin Peterson, who say, you're not going to be here for a long time. You might as well try to score some runs. And then that is another level of intent of, like I said, it's not going to blast them, even though it's a common trend. You try to blast your way out of the problems, but it's an option. You're not going to be there forever. So what can I do to maximize my half an hour of being here before I eventually get out, kind of thing.
So here comes the main question that I wanted to ask you, and it's mainly because I'm starting to see some red flags when it comes to the red ball cricket in South Africa, and my red flags are coming here because of the new divisions that have obviously taken place, which I think is going to be very good for South African cricket to have in Division A and Division B, making it very competitive, both of them. My concerns is that when I was speaking to Ryan Klein, for example, myself and Aditya, I had an interview with him. He went to the Netherlands, for example, because he didn't have an opportunity maybe to pick up a contract with the semi-pro contracts falling away, etc. So a lot of them are going to go back to club cricket again if they really want to become professional cricketers, because other than that, there's not necessarily another setup below for long ball cricket that they can really play. If their dream is to play test cricket, obviously, like every single cricketer coming through the system, they want to play red cricket, ball cricket one day. There's a lot of talk going around. I'm not sure about how Joburg works or how Gauteng area works when it comes to club cricket and two-day cricket, if you guys still have it there. I know that it's starting to maybe fall away, and they're starting to maybe think about getting rid of it in the Western Cape region from certain sources that I've heard it from. It hasn't been 100% confirmed yet, but that means that we're going to lose red ball cricket to a large portion of our cricketers in South Africa. They're not going to get the experience to be able to play red ball cricket and have that concentration for long hour period of time over a period of time. Same thing happens with the school level. I mean, I think when you guys were coming through the system, there was like a Colts 3-day week, almost in a way that you guys played some 3-day competition, where that is not available for the school kids now anymore coming out to the system. What would be your suggestion? Like, what would you like to see from that perspective, so that we can preserve the game of red ball cricket in South Africa?
I think it's a difficult one now. Obviously, when you had the franchises, you had the semi-professional teams who were playing their 3-day and their 1-day, so almost playing a good 4 days of cricket. And there's no other. You can't really learn anything about 4-day cricket unless you physically playing it. It's a difficult. It's a. Myself also went to Saints. We only played 1-day cricket. We played a couple of 2-day games, once in the blue moon, and that was a completely different challenge on its own. So yes, there are elements that I agree with regards to the Division 1 and 2, but also puts a lot of teams under pressure now, because if I look at the Lions now, our team is full still of a lot of Protea players, and if we are losing Protea players, we need to pick from somewhere. And the guys in our high performance squad, a couple of them are still, not club cricketers, but they're playing club cricket as their only source of cricket. So from that perspective, I think it's going to put a lot of pressure onto the system, onto those players coming in, and onto the unions, because there's none of that bridge which amateur cricket allowed. However, though, I think going forward now, I think the varsity weeks are going to have to be of the utmost importance, because I feel like that's where most of your cricketers will be coming through now, is good universities. And so I feel like an emphasis needs to be placed on those, getting those 3-day games out between a UJ and a Wits, a UWC and a UCT and a Stellenbosch, Tuks, get those 3-4-day games going over the weekends, or even play a 2.5 day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that, just to keep the red ball and it's obviously time, just to keep the time out playing. It's going to be challenging, especially for the unions, because the feeders aren't as strong as they once were. But I'd like to think that would be the area that most unions will look back to, is to are the universities, and how the university is going to deal with it. And I think they need to play each other in red ball competitions.
Last one for you, Aditya.
Okay, this is another mindset question, I suppose, because there's this debate that's perpetually raging about whether a player should continue playing Test cricket, or should they focus their efforts on white ball cricket. And we see a lot of players trying to do that. But if we look at the evidence historically, the best players of T20 cricket, white ball cricket generally, happen to be players who've done really well in Test cricket. And I wonder what the thought process is around the players around yourself and the players that you're with.
can obviously speak on both because now I think obviously cricket has changed. I agree that the best 3 format players are your best test players. I fully agree with that. The test cricket is obviously the ultimate form of the game, especially obviously speaking more batting wise. I think it's the ultimate form of the game, and one thing is that no matter what format you change or you jump to, the basics are still the same across all 3. However, though, going into this new, with all the leagues and stuff like that coming up, obviously there's the big attraction of money, and there are more opportunities to play around the world and obviously earn a good or get a good gig here and there. I guess it just boils down to the personal belief and desire of the player. There are a lot of players who dream to play Test cricket and to be the best in the Test arena before even venturing into the white balls. But that's obviously the most difficult one. So I think because it's so difficult, a lot of players have now, obviously want to play at a high level, but your Test cricket could take me 10 years playing for the Lions, could take me 12 years playing for the Dolphins. And you say, well, do I want to do that? Or do I want to get a gig in the Caribbean, get a gig in Pakistan, and travel around? So it's a fine line. I think times have obviously changed because the world is so accessible now and everything is, is digital. Money comes, money goes, things happen quickly. But I think that's kind of shaping the way cricket has gone, is that, we want things to happen quickly. We want to play these leagues. We want to do that. I fully agree with you that Test cricket players are the best players in all 3 formats. I definitely agree with that. It's just about, I feel like, personal desires now, what players want. And I think because we're given the choice, a lot of players are actually, I don't want to say that they're soft, but they're not maybe as willing to work as hard and as long as other players were, and that's why I feel like they'll jump ship.
Awesome insights, guys. And I think this was a perfect interview about different insights into the longer format. Thanks a lot, Ryan, for joining the show. Thanks a lot, Aditya, for coming on the show too. We will try to get him on again sometime soon, hopefully before the new season starts, to get some more insights from him, because I always enjoy bringing him on the show. But thanks a lot to everybody for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow with another preview show, because I think we're going to preview the T20 series against the West Indies tomorrow. So take care, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks, Ryan. See you soon.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me. Bye.